Hello, and welcome back to My Brain is a Wonderland, a podcast for neurodivergent women and the people who love them. You're here with Emily, your host, talking about everything to do with being late diagnosed as a woman with ADHD and autism. Today is going to be a special bonus episode. I'm going to be starting a new series on My Brain is a Wonderland called Holiday Schmoliday. So whenever a holiday comes up, which is coming up soon, we have Thanksgiving in the US in a couple of days, Christmas that I celebrate in about a month. Whenever these holidays come up that tend to give me anxiety, sensory issues, things that I struggle with, I'm going to do a special episode to help you get through the holidays and give you some tips about what I do during the holidays to survive. Like I said, I'm going to do this episode about Thanksgiving, which is, they do Thanksgiving in Canada, but it's on a different date. So I'm going to describe it a little bit. It is a one-day holiday in the US. Unlike Christmas, you're not going to be there for days and days celebrating it with a build-up, with different decorations. It's usually just the one day. If you're in school, maybe, you might have some decorations and things leading up to it, events and that kind of thing. There's no gift giving. So that's something that I appreciate, because with gift giving for Christmas comes a whole other array of anxieties and issues for me. So that's Thanksgiving. Usually you get together with family and you have a really good meal. For me, I will usually start getting anxious about a holiday event 3 to 6 months prior. I don't know if that sounds like a lot to anybody, but it is a lot. It depends on the holiday and what's expected of me and what's going to happen. So, for example, if we're going to have guests at this dinner or guests at any part of the holiday that either I don't know or I don't know very well, that aren't there usually, that will just start to send me spiraling 3 to 6 months prior. I'll be thinking just all sorts of things. One of the talents my husband's family has, my in-laws, is a complete lack of planning. So I love them to death, but I am a planner down to the end. You know, I'll be texting them. I don't know if they've realized this about me, but I will be texting them about all different things, and I'll try to hold off until it's appropriate, you know, once they've told me an event's happening. But I'll be asking, what food is there? Who's coming? What time will it start? And these are things they really don't decide until like the week before or the week of. And I find that quite stressful. And that is what's happened with this Thanksgiving as well. So I found out probably less than 3 months ago, 3 months before Thanksgiving, that my mother-in-law would be inviting extended members of my husband's family, of my in-law family. So cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, all that kind of stuff. And these are all people that I've met before. People that I know and have hung out with, you know, gone drinking with, socialized with. These aren't strangers, but they're not there at every holiday. There's a core group of people that's at almost every holiday, which would be my husband, me, his sister, sometimes his brother, but he counts as core. He's in and out of school, so he's not always there, but he's a core one. If he's going to be there, that's no issue, obviously. So his 2 siblings, and then his mom and dad. And then my sister-in-law now has a husband, and they have kids. That's totally kosher. And my brother-in-law has a fiancé that he's going to marry next month, and she's totally kosher. So there's the ones that I've hung around a lot, you know, been in my gym jams, waking up with crazy hair in the morning, have been open with them, and they know kind of how I am. I mean, I lived with my husband and my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law we lived with the brother-in-law for probably 2 years, and we lived with my mother-in-law for 5 years in the same house. And then my father-in-law and sister-in-law lived in other homes, but in the same city. So I've known them intimately for over a decade. That being said, when she tells me that they're going to be inviting extended family, it just really stresses me out. It stresses me out in ways that I really don't understand, because I know all these people, and I think it might be the overwhelm of the amount of people. My husband's family is quite large. My father-in-law has 4 or 5 sisters, something like that. And my mother-in-law has a brother and 4 sisters or something. So they, 5, 6 siblings they all had. And then they all had kids and blah, blah, blah. So there's loads of cousins, loads of people who could be showing up. And I find that just so stressful. And I don't know if anyone else out there feels the same way, if you're in a big family or not in a big family. I grew up in a very small family, if you've been listening to this podcast prior, and I recommend you go back and listen to those episodes. I grew up with my mom. My dad died when I was 4. I had no siblings. We didn't know my dad's family, and I had 2 grandparents. So every holiday, it was 4 people total. We didn't have... There was a couple of cousins. My mom had a sister that she later became estranged from, but they weren't around. They were around a little bit in my childhood, and that's it. So I'm used to this very small, tight-knit holiday celebration, which is not going to be happening this year. That's okay, though. I love the people that are invited, and I love hanging out with them. I just gotta pinpoint what the issue is. What is bothering me about it? I think it might be the sensory stuff, but I've really gotta try to pinpoint that so I can think of some strategies to help. And I'll talk about that closer to the end of the episode. Tips for getting through these holidays that I've found that work. We are going to be driving. We live in the same state as my in-laws now. We used to live on the other side of the country, and we would fly out the night before Thanksgiving on the Wednesday. It would be 3 flights. This was before I was diagnosed, before I had earplugs, before I really knew what I needed from something like that. I would be sick, so sick by the end of those trips. Just sick with sensory overload. I didn't realize it at the time, but so sick. Not like I'd throw up on each flight. I'd be just so miserable. And then we'd fly in Wednesday, have Thanksgiving Thursday, and usually fly back either Friday or Saturday, depending on when my husband and I had to go back to work. And it was just a very stressful situation. 3 flights back and then straight back into work. Now, we're driving. So I'll do an episode about driving. I don't really drive. I hate to drive. It's a really big issue in my life. I grew up in London where no one drives anyway, so I could kind of avoid it. And now I can't avoid it anymore, and it's just become this huge issue. So my husband always drives, always drives. So he's going to drive, and he's a great driver, loves to drive. That's not an issue for him. But driving, I have always found to be sensory hell. We don't put the radio on. My husband knows now we cannot have the radio on. If there's a guest in the car, in the back seat talking, I will, proceed to go mute and kind of, space out, and then I'll start vomiting. It's that bad. So now I have my loop earplugs. I'm going to be wearing them in the car, and I'll be prepared. We've done this drive. It's like a 2-hour drive, and we've done it so much that I know the route. I'd be very prepared for it. As long as I have my earplugs, I'm going to have to eat something light and mild that morning and just be really in a zen place. Also wearing very comfortable clothes. I'm not someone who is going to be... I like to dress up, but if I'm in the same house where the thing is happening, I'm not going to dress up and then wear a tight or uncomfortable outfit in the car to get there. So I'll probably be in something kind of schlubby, which is like sweatpants and a big t-shirt, because I want to be really comfortable getting there and getting back. With the driving, because my husband works the day before and after Thanksgiving, we're going to drive up and back the same day. So that's a lot of sensory overload in one day. It's just a lot for me. Back in the day, when I first came to America, this would be 16 years ago, and the first time I met my husband's family was for Thanksgiving. And I'd never been to Thanksgiving before, and in England, you just kind of see it in movies and TV shows, but I didn't really know what it was. And I remember going there. Everything my in-laws cooked, I just despised. And that's nothing on them. I mean, they made the most succulent salmon. I hated salmon when I first met them, couldn't stomach it. I hated turkey. I used to describe, I still kind of do. It's like dirty chicken. I just don't, don't like turkey at all. And that's what you eat at Thanksgiving. If you don't know, you eat turkey at Thanksgiving, cranberry sauce, which is usually what I smother my turkey in now. I still cannot, I never have, and I never will. I think I tasted it once and just was like, I can't do it. Is the sweet potato casserole, which is sweet potatoes with marshmallows on top. I just can't do it. There are certain, and I'll do a food episode. I have a real weird thing with gooey white items like yogurt, sour cream, cottage cheese, marshmallows on, like, it just, the whole thing. So I would show up to Thanksgiving and, like, not eat anything. Not eat at all, or pick up bread, or things like that. And they are so accepting that they wouldn't even barely mention it. Sometimes his siblings would say, hey, why don't you like this? Or, that kind of thing. But for the most part, no one would say anything. They were very accepting. This is here's a tip for you. If your family isn't accepting, throw them away, get a new one. That's all I got for you. If they're not accepting of you not wanting to eat, not being available to them as a family, having these boundaries, throw the whole family away, get a new one. That's my best advice. So that was one of the real big issues when I first started going to holidays, was just the food to eat. The other one that is really funny, actually, I would class my husband's family as middle class. His parents are doctors. They earn a good deal of money. They are all very well educated, so at least have a bachelor's. Most of them have masters, if not PhDs. They just come from a certain type of family that I do not come from. And there's no criticism in that. I'm quite well educated. I'm getting my second graduate degree right now. But I grew up working class and very different to how my husband grew up. Not to say they don't eat dinner on their laps sometimes, but when I was growing up, that's the only way we ate dinner, was, like off our laps in front of the TV. Very occasionally at my grandparents' house, they had a small dining table, but that was it. And so there's all these little rules. Does everyone know about the rules of eating? Especially during a fancy event. If you're, elbows on the table, that's not allowed. That drives me nuts because I want to lean on something, and I think it's to do with something you could be able to flip the table with your elbows, and people don't like that. I don't care. Elbows on the table drives me nuts. I do it all the time. I don't care. Another one is eating before others sit down. It depends on the person in my in-laws' family, but, I'm the kind of one, once I was used to the food, very much my ADHD binging kicked in, and I will inhale meals. Any meal when I was growing up, I could inhale it in 2 minutes. Just be done. I would sit down and start eating, and pointedly other members of the family would sit down with their dish and be waiting for everyone else to sit down. I didn't get that. I didn't understand that until you watch others and realize, this is embarrassing now. And that's the other thing. Once I got used to being with the family with food and then sat down to eat, which they do make comments on, is how quick I eat. So my husband is known as the slowest eater on the planet. Waiters and waitresses will take his plate away while he's still eating without realizing, because everyone else is done, it's been so long. He's the slowest eater I've ever met. I inhale food sometimes I'm just like, where did that plate go? And it doesn't bother me. It bothers people. Does anyone else have this? That the speed at which you eat food bothers people? It kind of makes them uncomfortable. It kind of just weirds them out. They're kind of like, don't eat that quick. That's weird. Did you not eat today? Are you okay? Or this kind of like, be more, polite with your food, I guess. Like inhaling is not polite at the dinner table, I guess. I don't know. But if I've been waiting for dinner, or I am in kind of my hyper state, or I haven't gotten kind of that hit of, the happy juice today, feeling that dopamine. Is it dopamine? The ADHD people seek that kind of, happy feeling that, I will inhale food, in a split second, and go get seconds, and I'm usually the first person to get seconds. and that is commented on, which I'm used to it now. It's fine. It doesn't bother me that they comment on it, but I think it's funny. It's one of those things that clearly makes people think, oh, that's weird. She eats very, very quickly. Other than that, the other biggest thing, like I mentioned before, is the socializing with large amounts of people. I think it's also, there are the people I haven't seen in years who I'm going to see again, and that's fine. I kind of have an idea of who they are, what we're going to talk about, what's going to happen. But there are the people, those people very well may bring a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a child, their child, a cousin, a friend. It's that kind of family where there's a lot of, different people at the dinner table for holidays because they've invited so many because they're so open and just well-wishing. And that just freaks me out because of all these things about me, right? That I'm gonna show up having traveled, look a little slovenly because I want to be comfortable, and also maybe a little bit short by the time I get there, like my temper, I might be a little bit over it by the time I get there. So that makes me anxious being around new people who don't get me. Food as well. If people bring food, and these people who are so well-natured, but it drives me up the wall. The people who go, just try it. Just try it. Oh, go on, for me, just try it. Stop. If anyone is listening who is one of the people who love neurodivergent women, stop doing that. It really mows down people's boundaries because you're doing it in public, mostly. Usually you're in public, either around a waiter or other people at the dinner or what have you. So you feel obligated. No one wants to do it. It's this huge pressure, and it's not about you. Just because you made the dish, not everyone has to eat it, and it's not a reflection of you, okay? So if anyone's listening, anyone neurodivergent who makes a dish and maybe someone doesn't try it or whatever, maybe they're neurodivergent, right? Because, oh God, that just drives me crazy. Like, leave me alone. So that's another thing, is there's going to be people there who are like, oh, I made this. Do you want a piece? Go and try it. Da, da, da. And I'm very firm, and not in a I'll just say, no, I'm good. Thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. And that comes across as rude, apparently. Me just saying, no, thank you. That's not what, that's not what I would like to eat. It will make me vomit and freak out. So you can't say that. You can't say that. You can't say that to people who don't know you. So that's, I think I'm getting to it now, right? While I'm talking, why the extra people freak me out. The table habits, right? What if someone thinks elbows on the table, inhaling your food quickly is rude, is offensive, is annoying. I don't want to offend anybody, but let me live. Let me live. I'm letting you live. If you want to eat like at a snail's pace and eat everything, great. If you want to eat at, a rabbit's pace, that's quickly, and eat nothing, just one dish or all the dishes. If you want to put your pumpkin pie with your mashed potato, I don't care. Do you? Let me do me. So I think that's one of the things. I think that's what's stressing me out, is that people not knowing me. The people who know me, the close people, know, they look at me like, oh, it's just Emily. She doesn't like this, she does like that, she snaps at this, she snaps at that, we love her anyway. All the other people don't know me. So then does that mean I'm worried that I'm going to have to mask a bunch, maybe? Maybe that's what I'm thinking, is that, I'm going to have to show up and be like, oh, hello! Oh, it's so great to see you! Oh my God, you made this dish that sounds disgusting? I can't wait to try it. I'll pretend to try it, or maybe put it on the side of my dish and push it around, but I won't actually eat it. Guys, and you brought your 3-year-old girl that I've never met and she wants to hug me? I can't wait. Oh my God, send her over here. No, none of that is appealing to me. None of that seems like a good time. So I think that is what is sending me right now. So I want to talk about what tips I have to get through this, because I have gotten a lot of strategies over the years and over the last couple of years since I've been diagnosed. If you are in a space that you just want to leave and get out, go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom and lock the door, okay? Go to the bathroom, lock the door, turn on the tap. I love that feeling of the white noise. It drowns out the sound. You get that kind of calming. Splash the water on your face. I love cold water on the back of my neck. that can just kind of bring me back to reality and take down nausea and feelings of panic. So go to the bathroom, lock the door, stay in there. If it's a big party and gathering, a lot of people don't notice, right, that you kind of slipped away. And if they do, it's kind of rude to say, hey, you were in the bathroom for 30 minutes, or are you okay? Like, you got diarrhea or something. So, bathroom. That's my kind of bail moment. Go to the bathroom, remove yourself, lock the door. If you go to other places, people can tend to follow you because they're worried about you, right? So, bathroom, lock the door. If you have any earplugs, wear earplugs. I wear loop earplugs almost all the time in these situations now, and I plan to wear them for Thanksgiving, at least one in while I'm at dinner, so it just muffles, but I can still hear what everyone's saying. If you're anxious about being there a long period of time, do what we're doing, travel in and out the same day. No staying overnight, no getting a hotel, no having to plan this, that. It's limited planning. We have to get a pet sitter to feed my dog's dinner. There are things we have to plan, but it's limited planning. So in and out, same day if you can. If you're flying, that might be really difficult. Wear comfortable and comforting clothes. This isn't a fashion show. Wear whatever you're not going to be pulling at, isn't going to be itching you, scratching you. If you don't like body-conscious clothing, don't wear it. Wear baggy clothes. Baggy is in right now. Big and baggy's in. You can find lots of cute dresses that are kind of like potato sacks. That's totally my vibe right now, is fashionable potato sack. So look for those. They are everywhere. And the last thing is, if it's a potluck or open to that kind of thing, bring your own food, right? Think about the dishes that you like and bring them. One word to the wise, though, for anyone doing this. Look, if there is a list of people who are already bringing things, don't bring something similar. That's a faux pas, apparently. Social faux pas. So if someone, for example, says they're bringing mac and cheese, don't then bring your version of mac and cheese. That is seen in the neurotypical community as a challenge, as you're trying to compete, okay? Not that you're just trying to add to the love. That's how I see it, right? Like, you bring your mac and cheese. Ooh, I'll eat it. I'll bring my mac and cheese. You can eat it. We got double the mac and cheese. Whoever likes which can eat whatever. No, people don't see it that way. They think you're competing. They think you're trying to take them down, especially if your food ends up being favored more. So just bring something different. That's my only recommendation, but feel free to bring something that you would enjoy. And very, very, very lastly, I just want to say, look after yourself. The holidays are for us to enjoy and appreciate and be grateful, especially Thanksgiving. That's what Thanksgiving's about. When my husband and I moved into our house that we bought 2 years ago, the only day that year that we had off, once we bought the house, the only day we had off together from work because of our crazy schedules was Thanksgiving Day. It was the only day we had off work. So we spent Thanksgiving 2020 moving into our new house with my father-in-law. So look after yourself. This might be one of the only days you have off work if you work in retail, if you work in the service industry. So do what is right for you. And in the end, don't worry about what people think. Because if they really love you, if they're really there for you, you can go lock yourself in the bathroom for 30 minutes. You can bring a bowl of white rice to Thanksgiving and just eat that with some chicken. If they are accepting and want you to be happy, then that will be okay. And I'm sorry if you're not in a situation where that's okay, but that's all right, because it's one day and then it's over. And then you can go back to living your life that you love. So with that, I want to end this episode. I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving going into the holiday season. We will see you next time on My Brain is a Wonderland. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.